What does it take to lead riders, both newbies and veterans alike, through some of the world's most challenging terrain, dangerous border crossings, and clocking hundreds of kilometers every day for weeks? Today, we're joined by Ibrahim, a man who has turned the open road into his office. From the relentless deserts of the Middle East, to the lofty peaks in Tibet, China, to the winding coastal roads of Europe. He's an official BMW Motorrad tour guide who has led hundreds of expeditions around the world. A man who's probably seen more of the world from a motorcycle saddle than anyone I know. Today, he's sharing some of those stories, struggles, and why he chose to make life a ride. Mr. Ibrahim, thank you so much for joining us this evening to tell us a little bit more about your journeys, your adventures. How long have you been riding motorcycles? How old were you when you started?
26 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Probably,
Okay.
yeah. From class 2B, 1 year later, 2A, and then class 2.
Do you remember what motorcycle it was, the first bike you rode?
Quite a bit. XL 125, RXK, RXZ, Super 4, ST11, and a bunch of BMWs.
What was the turning point that got you to go from riding a regular bike to touring?
Okay, I started touring with my Honda ST11. Then my brother passed the bike on to me. So with that, I started my first tour to Phuket.
Oh.
Big long tours. Before that, when I was riding with small bikes, I did Malacca trip, that's a shorter distance trip. And then a friend invited me to go Phuket, and then there I was. So right after Phuket, I came back and I think I want to do this. So I invited a few friends, and then from there I ventured quite a bit of Thailand, and then moved on to Cambodia, and all the Southeast Asian country by land. Until where should I go next? So I tried 2011. I did my first trip to China. It was only to Yunnan, but northern of Yunnan there was some landscape that, wow, I thought this is beautiful. And then, you know, to China you need a tour guide bringing you along. So my tour guide was someone from Western China, Xinjiang, Mr. Wang. And I told Mr. Wang, my God, this is beautiful. Beautiful? This is not beautiful. Beautiful, go to Xinjiang. So I came back, I did some research, how many days needed, and then I invited a few friends, and then we went to Xinjiang. So that was the turning point. So, you know, anyone on an adventure bike, their dream is to ride the world.
Right.
But back then I started when I was in my late 20s. I still have to work, fund my trips. So I thought of doing it in segments. So that year, in 2013, I did Singapore to Xinjiang, down to Nepal. And then 2 years later, I flew the bike to where I left off in Kazakhstan, and then rode to Turkey. So that was the plan.
Right.
So eventually, you know, you will circumnavigate around the world.
So we'll get into more details on your rides in a bit. You've been with BMW Motorrad Singapore for a pretty long time. How
10
many
years now.
10 years.
10 years next week.
Oh, 10 years next week. Oh, happy anniversary. I'm sure it's also been part of your life, you know, part of your touring life.
Not complaining.
Okay. You are also a certified BMW Motorrad guide.
Right.
So where was the bridge between riding and going on tours, enjoying yourself, and then encompassing your work element to it, and then becoming an official guide?
Actually, before I joined BMW, I was already leading small groups with friends. And then when I was offered in 2019 to take up this course, I said, why not? I would turn it into a professional career where I will lead and do quality trips, adventurous tours. So why not? So I gave it a shot, and again, no complaints so far.
Like you mentioned earlier, you have traveled all over Southeast Asia. You've done China, you've done Middle East, you've been to Europe, of course.
South America. So
what is next on your agenda? Before we go into some of the areas that you've already visited.
I have been thinking about Trans-Siberia, and I don't mind going back to Central Asia.
Right.
I think Central Asia is one of the best trips I've done so far. All the trips are memorable, and some small encounters of unfortunate ones, but I don't mind going back to Central Asia.
So you recently came back not too long ago, I think a couple months back, from a Middle Eastern trip.
Right.
And I heard from you when we had a conversation earlier that there were a lot of exciting moments. Okay, tell us a little bit more about that trip from start to finish. What was that trip like?
Okay, the idea was, it started back in 2019.
Oh, okay.
But then COVID came.
Right.
So I had to shelve the idea. And then when we are okay, Myanmar was closed up till now. So I waited a bit, and then I think the calling is too strong. So I tweaked a bit. I've ridden Singapore to Pakistan. So this time I thought, okay, we send the bikes to Karachi, Pakistan, and we start the tour from there. So I called on a few friends, and then 11 of us went, including a couple. 42 days.
42 days. How many countries were you guys?
The initial plan was Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq, Saudi, Jordan, Egypt. Something happened. The border of Iraq to Saudi is closed, and that's the only border. So I had to detour a longer route north to Jordan. And then we couldn't get to Egypt because Egypt is closer. But our intention is to go pilgrimage in Saudi. So we decided to go down to Saudi and then enter UAE and finish off in Oman.
Wow. 42 days.
42 days.
What are some of the more memorable challenges that you could remember?
I'm a big freak on border crossings. Okay, I've crossed probably 100 borders so far, close to 60 countries in total. Border crossings are always challenging. 2015, Central Asia, we crossed Uzbekistan and it took 8 hours.
8 hours?
8 hours.
Is this because of heavy traffic or is it?
No traffic. It's just the formalities, and then we have to wait. It's just a lot of waiting, and then all our luggages, the items, we have to lay down on the floor one by one. And imagine there were 13 of us. So it took quite a bit.
Right.
And then when we finally made it, it was almost sunset, and there is no hotel. I told them we just keep on riding until we find the next hotel, and the next hotel is 7 in the morning.
Wow.
So we rode through the night, mountains, off-roads. So I thought that was the most challenging experience I had. For the last trip, Middle East, we crossed Iraq in 10 hours. No, initially they didn't let us cross. And then that's going to be a big problem because Iran, if we have to live back to Iran, we don't have a visa anymore.
Also the one-way
kind
of thing.
So we negotiated for 4 hours. And then when they finally said okay, the paperwork was 6 hours.
You obviously have to do a lot of preparation work.
Right.
And I'm not just talking about preparing your bikes or your gear.
Right.
There's a lot of diplomatic paperwork.
Visas, for example.
Right.
Not all countries we have consulate or embassy in Singapore. So for example, Afghanistan and Iran, we had to go to Kuala Lumpur. You need to take note there are some borders which is not open for international border crossings. So you need to do a lot of research on that.
Because I've gone on a few trips with you, and I realized that everywhere we go, there are people whom you know, and there are contacts, like our Thailand trip, for example. You have friends everywhere. But the Middle East, did you need to create a lot of new contacts, or?
I managed to get a few. Iran, for example. Saudi, we had a few. But Iraq, no. There was totally a surprise for us. But you need to be resilient. You need to be optimistic, because you need to find some ways to get through. Because if we really couldn't get through, the trip is probably finished.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, talking about this resilience. Now, obviously, touring is an enjoyable adventure, right? And then you have these challenges that may feel like roadblocks, that may feel like, I want to stop, I want to give up. What inspires you to continue? Is there something in you? Is there like a fire in your gut, that just...
Okay, when I started, back then there's not so much information that you can gather.
Right, because now you can Google and search it online.
So it's more to, let's just try. Whatever happens, then we think there and then. Because along the way, you invite friends, and then they will ask you a lot of questions. What if this cannot go through? This? So eventually I told them, if we think too much of it, the trip will not go on. So when there's a problem coming along, we just solve it there and then. And so far, yes, it works. You just need to pray a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
So truly the spirit of adventure.
Right.
That what happens.
And sometimes you need to plead, so-called give a sorry face, please help us, something like that. And like for Iraq, actually they told me, no, you can go in, but your bikes cannot go in.
Right.
All right, so that cannot work because we are traveling on bikes eventually. So we make friends with an officer there. We told them we are going for pilgrimage. And then, really, pilgrimage? Because they are a Muslim country, pilgrimage is something that, is one of the most important activities for one year. I said, let me try to talk to some people. So it started from there. He talked to a few people, wait here and there. 4 hours later, we let you in. And it's like, oh my God, thank you. We thank anyone that come across. Yeah. When we started in Pakistan, the first hurdle was the bike's custom clearance took us 10 days. 10 days, yeah. We were in Karachi for 10 days. I was expecting 5 days. And then eventually 10 days. And then when it goes beyond that much of time, your itinerary is all disturbed.
Messed up, right.
Yeah, so every day I keep on doing itineraries. 6 days, now work 7 days, I change again, 8 days, change again. So eventually after 10 days, you need to do all this quick thinking. And then you need to let your friends know, then they have to be on your side.
Right.
Otherwise, there will be blaming games and all this will be...
Right. Then it becomes a different challenge.
Yeah. When we are leaving Pakistan, it took us 6 hours. And the next border is Afghanistan. When all the papers are done, so they escorted us to the gate of Afghanistan. And the Afghanistan officer said, no, tomorrow. So we had to come back to Pakistan, do papers again. There were no hotels there. So they called the mayor of that small town. The mayor eventually put them up in a UN safe house.
Wow.
High walls, barbed wires. You cannot go out. They brought us food, heaters, blankets. So very nice of them. So somehow somebody is there to help you eventually. That's how I feel.
Right.
From all my travels, someone will help you.
And that is banking a lot on luck.
Luck, and you cannot tell your guys that it's certain we're gonna do it. But if we don't, everyone must be together and accept this next trial. I won't promise you that it's gonna work, but we have to try.
I can imagine because of these challenges, it makes every small win really significant.
Right.
Collectively
and the joy after, oh, we made it, come.
Right. So you crossed the borders from Pakistan to Afghanistan, from Iran to Iraq to Saudi Arabia to Jordan. there are a lot of cultural differences,
Definitely.
country to country. So how do you adapt along the way? Like, 1 minute you need to follow this tradition, this culture,
Right.
this format, and then the next day you are in a whole different environment.
Basically, the Middle East, most of them speaks Arab. Fortunately, I have one guy who speaks fluently Arab.
Oh wow!
Pakistan and Afghanistan, they speak Urdu, and I have one guy who can speak Urdu. So I have someone who can converse in the languages.
Right.
Cultural differences, not much, a few. But when I was in Central Asia, there was vast difference in culture. So it's good to be in preparation back in Singapore before you leave. You try to learn some basic local language. Hello, thank you.
Right.
How do I get here? And I always remind the guys that you need to be respectful in every country, be it the locals, the road signages and all that.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sure in a lot of the rides, data on your cell phone is not going to be easily available.
Yeah.
So what happens in those situations where you detour and you don't have the data on your GPS?
In countries like Afghanistan, I don't think we have any data.
Right.
Or even in Iran, I think. So we just have to stick together. We are using the comms.
That's right.
Otherwise, again, pray.
So speaking of prayer, your trip to Mecca, I remember you mentioning about some challenges in Iraq, right? You talked about how you guys had to cut through Iraq within a day, was it? Or
No, okay. Only in Iraq, you need a guide. The last day when we are heading from Baghdad to cross into Jordan, so this stretch, we have to be escorted by the government army.
right.
It crosses about 300 kilometers, and then probably every 50 kilometers, they will stop and change escort vehicle. And eventually, the last vehicle was a Humvee. And when we look at the Humvee, there are bullets.
Wow.
The officers are wearing a bulletproof jacket.
And you guys are wearing
Gore-Tex. Just Gore-Tex.
just Gore-Tex.
There was one stop. We took small break, and then we found the whole place littered with bullet shells.
Wow.
And it is a lot.
Right.
And then suddenly it came to me, who are they fighting with? You know? So I asked them. They said they are fighting with this militant group who always come in to create problems in the country. So I got scared because look at these bullet shells, and we stick closely. When we arrived the border of Jordan, we were not let. They don't allow us to cross through. Again, the border town. There's no hotel. Quick thinking, let's find a mosque. So we went to the mosque. We asked for the imam and asked permission to sleep in the mosque. He said, yeah, no problem. We have a condition tomorrow morning. We pray together. No problem. So he brought us blankets, heaters, and all. So again, you always get help.
And so these countries that you've been to and being extended this help and assistance from the locals, they don't ask for anything in return.
Never. Not a single time. And not only on this trip, my previous trips in Pakistan even, I think Pakistan is one of the most hospitable country to travel in.
Okay.
They have this culture where you have to take care of the traveler within you for 3 days without asking anything. What he needs, you need to provide them. As long as it is within your means.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a cultural tradition.
It is an old Islamic culture which are not practiced anymore for a longest time. But we got that in Iran, we got that in Pakistan.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, and Pakistan, a lot of them speak quite good English, so it's very easy. Restaurants, don't need to pay for your meals. One even invited us to a place, and when we arrived, it's a hotel. He owns the hotel.
Wow.
You don't have to pay anything. He said, dinner, come down and eat your dinner. And wherever we stop, people will come with fruits, drinks. Do you need help? Anything else? Yeah,
That is such a beautiful moment.
that's in Pakistan and Iran. And Iran, we get that a lot too. There was one time in Iran where we stopped in a petrol station, and one guy came up to us, "Where are you guys from?" "Oh, we are heading here. You're going for pilgrimage." And then he shouted at the pump attendant, "I'll pay for everyone."
Wow.
And there were 11 of us.
Wow.
Yeah. Iran, one of the most beautiful places on earth.
And I'm gonna assume you have plans to return.
Iran, yes. Central Asia, Pakistan. Yeah.
How about gear and equipment? Like, do you guys bring along spare tires, or surely you have toolkits with you? How do you decide on what is too much and what is not enough?
Toolkits, yes, definitely. We will share the load. Tires, when I do planning, I will calculate the distance. So normally my trips will not go more than 10. The furthest was 12,000. So probably I'll advise them to start with fresh tires, fresh batteries, and then make sure your bike is in top-notch condition. But again, things can happen. So along the way, I will look out for some bike shops where we can stop by for help. And the rest is, again, pray.
So the power of prayer and the spirit of just go.
And we need to have this, we will make it mentality. Eventually, help will come eventually.
Right.
Maybe I share an experience for one of the riders, 72-year-old. He was on an African Twin. So he bust the bike did a lot of fork sealing, damaged panniers, burst tire. That was in Iran. And Iran is a sanctioned country. It's very difficult to get tires there. So I did some calls. I had a friend in Esfahan. I told her, we need this size. Please try and see whether you can get it. But I already know that it's probably difficult to get that. And I already think about how to send this guy back home from Iran. 2 hours later, she called. We have one 400 kilometers away. Send it by all means, I'll pay for it. And then that night, the tire came. And he continued his journey. His tire busted again in Dubai, second time. But Dubai is easy to get tires. So, and his intention is really to do pilgrimage, nothing else. Back in 2019, when I did the first plan, his children stopped him from going. They said, "No, you cannot go, you are old already." The second one, when I invited him again, he brought his son along to hear my presentation. So eventually the son, okay, go. And then when he arrived, Medina, Mecca, he just tear down. He hugged me and said, "Thank you, Im. This is my dream." Now he stopped riding. He said he has done what he wants to do. I'm very happy for him. Once in a while, he'll come here and visit me, just say hello and all that.
I'm getting teary-eyed just listening to this. So beautiful.
Good for him. Very happy for him.
You've got a lot of extensive knowledge in this touring, motorcycle riding. What do you consider to be essential gear for your long distance ride? Like you must have. Of course, your helmets, a jacket.
Full gear, no question asked. Right. 2014, I did a trip to Myanmar. I had a big accident.
You or?
Me. So my bike hit a cow dashing across the road. So I flew in the air and landed and then was dragged for a bit. So when I was dragged, so I was thinking, I'm going to die. Until stop. Oh, I didn't die yet. And then I stood up and I saw my bike. Oh, die, man. So the bike was damaged, front damage. I had to ship the bike from Yangon. But I was on full gear, full face, all the paddings. And it literally saved me.
Right.
Of course, damage, torn, but saved me. No wounds, just some aches here and there. Right. And I probably recovered within a week.
How was the cow?
The cow survived.
Oh, good.
I didn't have steak that night, no. But yeah, that impact was, I thought those apparel saved my life. Full face, paddings, knee paddings, high cut, cover your shins, gloves even, yeah. You can replace those, but
Harder to replace a shoulder.
and now I'm at this age, I don't think I can recover fast enough.
I heard from a friend that you enjoy collecting border crossings and you enjoy collecting UNESCO.
UNESCO sites, yeah.
UNESCO sites.
I find UNESCO sites interesting, especially those with history. In Iraq, we went to this place called Babylon. Apparently, it's the first civilization of the world. So it's really interesting. Babylon. There are songs about Babylon even. Border crossings, as you go further, it will get tougher and tougher. So I'm a freak with all these challenges because I find joy whenever I completed all this. Yeah. Again, border crossing 8-10 hours is not for everyone.
Right.
It's not for everyone. People will come to you, why do you bring me to places like this? Right? So before every trip, those participants, I will do a big briefing. I will tell them that I've never been here too. So I'm bringing you to experience together with me to places that we all have never been to. Okay, I did 55 days Colombia to Argentina. On the third day, I busted my rims. Crack, it's beyond repair. And then I damaged the transponder of my bike. That transponder is very rare where it fails. So I called Germany, closed for Christmas holidays. Chile, BMW, same thing. So in the end, I called Singapore. The last thing, I was ready to ship my bike back home because you cannot even start the bike. So they told me, give me a while, let us check. And they found one in Malaysia, of all places in Malaysia. They need about 3 days of shipment and then maybe 2 days of fixing. So I told the guys, follow the itinerary, I will catch up. And I met them 2 weeks later.
Wow.
Yeah, so things can change. You need to
adapt.
Yeah, and be resilient.
What does the spirit of motorcycle touring mean to you as Mr. Ibrahim? Like, what does it mean to you?
First of all, I like the freedom when you're riding. It gives me joy, it gives me a smile on my face, even when I'm riding. Beautiful landscape. You see, I ever told someone this, a few of my friends this. Hey, how long will it take you to go to Bangkok? 2 days, 3 days maybe. It takes 2.5 hours by flight. Yeah, but that's fixed, But for me, I can divert anywhere around. I can go places where people don't go, and then you can see the real life of the locals.
Right.
Where not many people will experience that if they go by, tours, by flight and all that. So freedom. Again, as you go along, there are challenges. You need to be resilient. You need to have a quick thinking. And now I'm very fortunate because the group of friends I'm riding with, they know, they have experienced what's happening, and they're willing to help around. Example, 2013, 45 days trip, 20 riders, only 17 made it. 2 accidents, one was mentally down and he gave up. Again, I told them before the trip, this is the skeleton of the itinerary. We probably made it, we probably won't. Because back then, it's not, you don't hear a lot of people, oh, I'm going China next week. So even if we made it, it doesn't make us champion when we come back. Okay, we have to be humble. So 17 made it. A lot of damaged bikes because the road back then, the terrain was super harsh. Imagine at 4,000 elevation, if you drop a GS, you need 3 or 4 people to pick it up because of the shortness of breath. But when you arrive and when Mount Everest is right in front of you, you can almost steer. This is magic, man. That kind of feeling when. This is what I look for when I travel with motorbikes.
Do you have any advice or tips that you can give for aspiring riders who are interested in touring?
First of all, adventure, anyone can define their own adventure. But for aspiring riders, you need to do research. You'll meet people who won't share information, but you just have to keep on going. Eventually, you get there. So remember, you define your own adventure.
I love the tagline, you define your own adventure. And prayer and have resilience.
Yeah. So eventually, you'll get there. Don't worry.
Well, Mr. Ibrahim, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Hong, for inviting.
Thank you for sharing your stories and challenges.
A lot of stories, to be honest.
Where is your next destination?
Next month, I fly and ride Portugal, Spain. And then in August, 30 days trip to Xinjiang. I think my boss already approved that, yeah. And then probably end year, there's a Thailand trip.
Right.
2 weeks probably. And small short trips in between.
Well, thank you, Mr. Ibrahim. Thank you
Thank you so
your time.
much.
And I hope to catch up with you again so that we can hear more stories
Anytime.
in the future.
Anytime. Thank you.
Thank you.